Hey, Bobby Manning here. Welcome to a news edition of the Garden Report here on Thursday after the Celtics signed Al Horford this morning to a 2-year, $20 million extension. They're going to pay him, according to Spotrac, likely $9.6 million next year. Let him and the Celtics avoid unrestricted free agency that would have been complicated, given that Grant Williams is also going to be entering free agency this summer, and give the team some stability at center as well as in their leadership position into the future. This is an ideal situation here for the Celtics, given that Horford probably would have entered free agency with some level of value in a market with plenty of money out there and many teams needing a guy in this modern NBA who can switch out and guard point guards, shooting guards, as well as forwards and centers, like Horford did last year, finishing 8th in contested shots, switching as much as anyone within this defense. I know Marcus Smart was the Defensive Player of the Year. Robert Williams got a ton of accolades for his impact on this defense, rightfully so, including second-team All-Defense. But Horford was as good as any of them and as impactful and as necessary to that system they played last year. Not to mention this year, where he has had to filled in for Rob throughout that playoff run, has held up, averaging 31 minutes to start this year, 2 more minutes than a year ago. Given Rob's health uncertainty, Grant Williams' uncertain future here with the franchise, that put Horford in a good position here to, I'd say, sign a fair deal for next year at $9 million, maybe a little bit under what market value would have potentially been, but also earn that second year in his age 38 season, fully guaranteed, and have that stability, knowing that he's going to be here in Boston, which he told Heavy recently, as we talked about on Friday on the Garden Report, that he wanted to be a member of the Celtics for the final stretch of his career here. So they get a deal done. This shaves $16.9 million off the Celtics books, since he'll be going from $26.5 million to approximately that $9 million figure. So that brings the Celtics below the tax on the books for now. But what is that Grant Williams figure going to be? That's the next question you're asking here. Is it that $16.9 million difference? I think that number makes a lot of sense given the numbers that have been thrown around in reports here. I don't think he'll be on that lower end, but the higher end of $20 million, given that he's still coming off the bench here, shooting 44% from three, but sort of a hot start, leveling off into November. We'll see where his season goes. Phenomenal production so far from Grant Williams. I still think he'll be a very coveted player on this market and someone that the Celtics need long term, given that Horford's going to be 38 at the end of this deal and has to decline at some point, though. He looks as good as ever to start this year, 48% from three. Key to this 5-out offense, and of course holding it down in Rob's place, as I mentioned. So well-deserved, incredible comeback. Who would have thought when he was in Philly and Oklahoma City that he'd be in this position, tearing another $20 million on top of this last deal? I believe was 109, 130, somewhere in that range. So a big payday for Al, well-deserved. Celtics need him. He's been a pillar. His return, I think, would mark the turning point for the franchise after a couple uneven years there after his departure. And they're back in position to win a championship in large part because of him. So great move on both ends. I think both sides rather, got what they wanted here. And he'll be back through his 17th NBA season, as well as his age 38 year. Horford signed 2 years, $20 million. First reported by Adrian Wojnarowski. We're brought to you by Athletic Greens. Go to athleticgreens.com/garden for a year's supply of vitamin D, as well as 5 free travel packs when you make your first purchase over there, as well as the Calm app. Calm.com/garden gets you 40% off a premium subscription that sleep sounds, meditation, and mental health and wellness offerings over there, many different kinds. I'm Bobby Manning. This has been the Garden Report. We'll see you tomorrow night for Game 2 of the Celtics and Heat with some more reaction from Al Horford for staying with the Celtics.